Hey, thank you so much for tuning in today and welcome to my podcast studio. Before we start on today's episode, I just wanted to take a quick moment to say I am truly grateful for you being here. It means the world to me and my guest for us to be able to share our conversation with you. If you do like what we're talking about, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. And if we do talk about something that you either agree or disagree with, please put it in the comments. We would love to hear your feedback. Also, please don't forget, I do a lot more than just podcasts. So every Tuesday, I'll put out a drum playthrough. I'll also documenting my journey on writing my solo album, which will feature a lot of guests that have been on the podcast. I'm also putting up a lot of tips and tricks of stuff that we do talk about in some of the podcasts, like insights that I get from some of the guests that share their journey in the music industry. Once again, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And again, please don't forget to subscribe. Let's get into it.
All right. Thank you so much, Steven, for inviting me. Is it Stefan or Steven?
Well, it's actually both. So I was like Stefan is my real name, and then because not very many people can actually pronounce my whole name correctly,
Oh,
so
really?
I've taken up this English, online like a persona, like an artist name, which is a lot easier. And so the last name Helhammer is an abbreviation of me and my wife's last names. So,
wow.
So a lot of people think, it sounds like it's like a doom metal band or something, but it's not. It's
It does sound like a metal band. I was like, is this a metal podcast or something?
yeah, not really. I mean, I do like metal, but it's just how everything turned out. You know, my last name is Helbo. My wife's last name is Hannum, so we just took the Hell and the Ham and just put
nice,
that
nice.
and just abbreviated that. So that's it, man. How's things in Antipolo in the Philippines?
Well, things aren't very good in the Philippines right now. We're experiencing a surge in COVID-19. Very bad, and it's just terrible for us. We're trying to cope again because it's been a year for us and nothing's getting better. Even our industry is bad. So yeah, I mean, things like this, podcasts and guestings always help us musicians for getting the word out that we're doing stuff, So
Yeah.
thank you so much for that. Yeah.
No, again, yeah, it's a pleasure. That's actually how I started doing this. I started doing this when we had a lockdown in Perth in April last year.
Yeah.
So that's, I suppose that's one of the good things that can come out of a lockdown, out of a pandemic. It's the fact that you start to think outside the box and you start to reach out and talk to people around the world. And that's
Definitely,
again, that's a beautiful thing in a very annoying, a very depressing situation.
Oh my God. I almost died during this pandemic, believe me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I almost died. I almost got buried in the sand in the backyard of my house. It was that bad for us.
How's that?
We got lots of before the pandemic came. Me and my wife, and my brother, we invested in a live sound system, and it was really good. It's a rental sound system and a recording studio, and we were just killing it. It was so good, right? It was kind of a big investment. We really got some good equipment, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hit, and everything's canceled. There's no events, no gigs, and aside from that, I was a full-time guitar player for some artists, and I was really doing good for that as well. And all of a sudden it just stopped. So we have loans to pay, we got credit card debt, we got all of that stuff, and we had to do something. That's why we diversified our recording. There's a live recording and equipment setup. So diversified it, and we put up this mastering studio. It's like a hybrid analog to digital mastering studio, and doing well. And we also had I also have students that I teach audio production to, so kind of getting there step by step.
Yep.
So yeah, but still it's not enough to recover the losses that we made. And so yeah, almost died, man. Almost died. I'm just hanging by the skin of my teeth.
Yeah, but it's super cool to hear that you managed to again to come up with another avenue of creating income. Yeah. So like you didn't have that studio before, or did you accelerate it during?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. It was before. It was a simple mixing studio before.
Yep.
And so me and my wife, we said, let's just double down on this studio because nobody's gonna come in, no one's gonna go out for events. So we doubled down on the studio. We bought real good equipment, and I polished up on my mastering skills. And because I'm a teacher also in a school, I teach music production in a school here in the Philippines, and I brought it online. So I had a good handful of students who were very loyal to me, who enrolled for a year. So it was really nice that for the whole year I was teaching them, and now they're graduated and they're already doing their own practice, which is not so good for me.
They're taking all your clients.
I know. And they're cheaper too, so.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and it's okay. I mean, I'm still proud because they also give me clients. Some of my students are very, very loyal. So, and when they can't do when they can't do a job well, they're, Marco, please do this for me.
Please save me. Please
save me from this grave I dug myself in.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Man.
But what about you? So if you also are, because obviously like you have a YouTube channel as well, and I'd love to hear
yes.
I'd love to hear more about that as well. Oh. But you also but you mentioned like you play a lot of guitar as well, and I've noticed there's so many people online that are doing like a guitar school, because there's always people that want to learn guitar. Is that something you've been doing as well?
No, I'm not teaching guitar online because one, it's so hard to communicate guitar online and to teach it to someone who's just starting, especially.
Yep.
Because there's a certain position that your fingers have to, that has to place, and there's a certain mentality also, a certain, I don't know, psyching up before you can really learn. And I used to do that in the studio, and I used to do that privately. I go to people's houses, and that's where I teach them. But online, I don't think I can be an effective guitar teacher online. I haven't tried it yet, but we'll see. Maybe if someone's going to inquire, I'll try it out.
Yeah,
I'll try everything right now. Now, give me anything. Give me anything that my skill set, I can use my skill sets with. I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, tell me a bit more about your skill sets, because obviously like you have a YouTube channel, so that might be a good way to maybe segue over to that. Because on a YouTube channel, you have a vast variety of different types of videos and different styles of there's a lot of educational content and stuff. But yeah, would you mind sharing a little bit about how that channel started and sort of like the thought process behind it?
Thanks for asking that question. My YouTube channel started with just the passion of creating backing tracks for guitar players. That was the first iteration of that channel, because sometimes I myself, I always want new backing tracks, and sometimes I can't get quality backing tracks online. Sometimes they're too I don't know, cookie cutter, or should you say usual. And so I said, why don't I make my own backing tracks and put it online just for free, just for the fun of it. And that's how I started the channel, because I was a music producer like way back. I mean, I started 1998 trying to produce my own music. And So I had that kind of knowledge, and of course the advent of digital technology, MIDI controller, you have drums, tug back, that's it, right? So yeah, I started doing those backing tracks, and then I said to myself, these backing tracks are, not getting me anywhere. But I was monetized back then, which was great because that YouTube wasn't setting up that monetization standard before. So I was being monetized by my backing tracks, earning a few bucks here and there. I wasn't really paying attention to that because I was gigging regularly as a musician,
Yep.
and those were really fantastic times. And I wasn't really paying attention to my YouTube channel. It was just for fun. And then all of a sudden, I just did one review about a Les Paul comparison, a Gibson Les Paul and an Epiphone Les Paul comparison, because I just wanted to compare those two with, just by myself, and gained a lot of views. And they said, oh, it's nice. So I'll just continue doing gear reviews, first for guitar. And then when the pandemic hit, it was all about guitar. I was addicted to playing guitar my whole career. And but at the side, I was really an audio producer, an audio engineer. I was mixing my own music, mixing music for other clients. But I never advertised myself as that. I was never, I didn't have an ad for it. No, I just had friends come to me and say, hey, I gotta help you with my album. Sure, pay me and whatever. And after that, the pandemic hit and no guitar for so long, and I just said, okay, I think being an audio engineer should be my first priority right now, because people can send me tracks from all around the world, right? So, and because of that, we doubled down on the studio, and I sent out ads, and fortunately I was able to reach America, I was able to reach Africa, I was able to reach Canada, clients in Malaysia, and it was really, really good. And I was really getting traction on that online space, right? And yeah, so I had to change the channel to gear towards to recording and mixing and mastering and reviewing a gear for audio engineers. And it's not as good as the guitar. I don't think it's as the traction I have with the mixing tutorials and whatever don't amount well as much as the guitar stuff that I put out. I think there's more passion in the guitar stuff for me. I'm a passionate engineer as well, but I'm more of a guitar player, really.
Yeah.
If I were to choose, right? Yeah. So there, and now I'm here, and this time, the third iteration of this, because another wave of lockdown is coming our way, is online streaming. I never took online streaming seriously until last week. So I set up the studio for online streaming because I want to prove that we can do really good online streaming audio without breaking the budget, without breaking the bank. So a lot of people are streaming online and they're just, they have bad audio. Sorry. So, yeah.
And when you're talking about streaming, you mean like music wise?
Yes.
Yeah, bands,
yes.
Artists. Yeah.
Yes.
So before we went live, we were talking about how we both use OBS. And again, OBS, for everybody who's unaware, is like such a user friendly, free platform to use, and you can really if you really get into it, you can really set it up to be extremely useful. So obviously you are now connecting through OBS. That's why, like, before we connected here, we had a little bit of a technical back and forth. But one of the really cool things about OBS is the fact that you can add compression limiter and different filters to your stream as you go live. I would obviously love to hear a bit more about you being an audio engineer, how you configure OBS from your end, and how maybe people that would want to try it out if you have some ideas for them to improve their live streams.
All right. First, I think you have to start with the source. Get a good microphone for broadcast or for singing. It could be a condenser, it could be a dynamic. Just something, doesn't have to be really expensive. Something, $100 microphone will do, and that's the first thing you should do. Like, get a microphone. I'm sorry, I know it's about OBS, but I think one of I always believe in the source. So get a microphone, get an audio interface that can really drive a good signal. And after that, on OBS, it's very simple. My chain on OBS, first of all, I want to put a disclaimer that I am all on analog right now. All my compressors you're hearing right now, this is an analog setup. Okay, so
oh wow.
Everything here, I have a limiter here, that's a tube limiter. I have a compressor here, that's a VCA compressor by Warm Audio, and everything's analog. So I won't clip, and I have a good compression on my signal. But on OBS, when I'm there and I don't have this setup, it's just as easy as downloading the Restream, the plugins by Reaper. That's all free. That's a free plugin suite by Reaper, and even if you don't download Reaper, it's fine. Just download the plugins, put it in a folder, in your program files folder, and you can use it on OBS. They have a limiter there. They have a compressor there. They have a stream plugin to connect your DAW to your OBS, and you can stream DAW sounds. You can stream your Windows system sounds. So Restream, it's very, very useful. I personally use the limiter. That's a limiter that really, whatever happens, it doesn't clip your sound. So you just go to the properties and go to filters and add your plugin there. Restream. That's my solution if you don't have all this analog stuff.
Yeah. I actually wasn't aware that you could also use your normal plugins, because obviously there's a few selection that comes with OBS that are built into the software, but that's actually really cool that you can just use your DAW plugins as well.
But not all DAW plugins. Waves, I think the old versions of Waves you can use the old versions of Waves, but not the new versions. And the real plugins, you can use it anywhere. You can use it in any DAW, so it's very agnostic in the architecture. So it's an awesome kind of plugin suite. But yeah, try it out. Try any plugin out on the filter section on properties of your audio in your audio device. Well, if you're not familiar with OBS, better get familiar with it, because you're gonna need it if you're gonna want to be streaming. If you want to work with streaming.
Yeah, and again, another cool thing, because you have I know exactly what you're talking about. When I started doing these podcasting things back in April last year, I spent the good part of about probably 2 weeks trying to sort of learn everything about how to set it up with the graphics and bits and pieces. Because that's, again, the other really cool thing. You can do the overlays. Like right now when people are watching this, they can see that I have this overlay where there's some graphics in the background and we've got our name tags and stuff. So it allows you to really mess around with both your audio and video interface and add graphics and screen captures and stuff. So it's such a functional piece of software. So how do you use it? So obviously, so you're saying you're now going live yourself.
Yeah.
What are you doing when you go live?
So we've done test streams already with my wife. My wife and I, we're kind of a duo when we go live. She's a singer. I can't sing for shit, so I just play guitar. So she does all the good stuff. I really like her voice. That's character, and of course I'm being biased. She's my wife. So we just do some old school covers because we love old school. We're into a lot of Fleetwood Mac and a lot of 90s. We love Pearl Jam. We love Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, name it. Sting. We love Sting and the Police. We go as far back as like early early classics like Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, stuff like that, and yeah, and some modern, maybe some Tori Amos. We do some of that, and also we want to educate people that okay, when you're streaming, you can have good audio even if you don't spend much, because it's just so sad that here in the Philippines, I don't okay, not sad, it's just unfortunate that people are skipping on that audio quality thing, because I think the Philippines have really talented musicians and artists, but they're not being maximized or not being optimized because of that bottleneck, that audio bottleneck. So we want to kind of educate that you can stream better.
I think that's. I don't think that's just in the Philippines, to be honest. I think
Not
people.
really, yeah.
I think people in general, especially when it comes to live streaming, if it is something you want to get good at and be a bit more serious about, it's all about learning the trade. It's because it is a new tool that you need to learn. And it's the same, a lot of bands say, oh, it'd be cool to learn how to track guitar at home. But that means you got to learn how to, again, you got to buy a decent audio interface. You need to learn at least Reaper or something if you don't want to spend too much money on it. Then you need to learn plugins and stuff. Yeah. But again, it's not hard, but you need to learn it.
There's a learning curve. But if you have the drive to do it, you can do it. Anyone can.
Exactly. And it's same as anything else in life. Like, how much do you want it? Like,
yes.
So
that's lessons in life.
So again, and you just got to put in the time. It's not hard, and once you know it, it's like riding a bike.
Definitely.
Then you can improve it, and you can go a little faster, but you can expand it, but it's not hard. So what made you guys decide to go live streaming? Because I think you said you had this set up for only a short period of time.
Yeah, just last week. Because we just experienced the lockdown again. So that means I can't have students here. I can't have recordings here. Okay, mastering clients should be online, and sometimes that's not very optimal. I do studio setups as well, and we were really doing good traction with the studio setups, but that all stopped. So we're like, we have to find to diversify one more time, and everyone is into streaming. But if you see their streams, their audio isn't nice. So we can train them. We can do an online course for audio streaming, and we have the equipment to sell, because we're also distributors of some good brands like Audient and Lauten Audio, and so that's Fantastic. What we also did. Yeah, that's what we also did to get out of this, out of this hellhole. We partnered with some local distributors here who brought in fantastic brands, presonus and whatnot. We said we want to be dealers, and that has been going on since July. And the products are really good. So we believe in all the products we're selling. So, and we can apply that in the streaming space, because those are all recording products. I mean, everything we sell are recording products, but they can also be used for streaming. So, and it's just that people don't know how to use it for streaming. They don't know the mechanics. They don't know the technicalities. How do you get it into your phone? How can you get an audio interface from the mic to the audio interface to your phone? How can you interface that? So there's also a learning curve that maybe they don't want to look into because of that. Maybe they're being technophobes or whatever. Some people are like that anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So ever since the lockdown, we said we gotta hit that market hard, because this is where all of this is going. Everyone is in streaming. People are raking the money in streaming, and our goal is to educate them that they can do better, something like that, because they're amazing. They're amazing performers, but they can do a lot better by just upgrading their audio. So that's our main goal. And at the same time, people have been interested in our performance, my wife and I, and we've been booked for online gigs. So, so it's also
That's
a sideline
so cool.
for us. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
sideline for both of us that we can actually earn some money while we're gigging. That's what we've been doing, the two of us, before the pandemic hit. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna try this stuff first. We'll try. We're trying it. We're trying it. No guarantees.
That is, it's so cool to hear that, you know, that you just think on your feet, like, oh shit,
Yeah.
we're in lockdown. I've got this crazy PA I just bought, and, you know, I've got to
Yeah.
figure out, I've got to figure something out.
Yeah.
And then you just start selling, and again, selling good quality products even.
Yeah.
So how did you start finding a market for that? Like, how did you start? And how's it going, by the way? Have you picked up some traction? Are you starting to make some money?
Yeah, basically, when we doubled down on the studio last year, that was around April, or May, when we were thinking of things. Before we doubled down on the studio, we were just selling food. We were trying to sell food items inside our community, our village. So it was hard to, I'm a food guy. I love food. I love to cook, but it's so hard if you're selling it already, making a lot of food and selling it. It's just so unrewarding. It's so unrewarding. So we took out another loan, and let's just take out another loan from the bank. Let's buy all our stuff. Okay, so we bought stuff from Warm Audio, from Heritage Audio, from Focal, and then we talked to the people who sold us those equipment. Hey, I think we can sell these equipment as well, because we'll be putting it in our studio, we'll be chiming out great quality audio, and if you let us, give us a margin, we'll sell it. So our first brand was Warm Audio. They really produce some great analog stuff and went really well. We have regular clients who purchase these, and even if they're expensive, they love it because it sounds really good. And then Hive Audio International got in touch with us. They wanted to sell. They wanted us to be dealers of Audient and Lauten Audio, which is the mic I'm using, and Heritage Audio preamps. So that one as well. So we're bringing that in as well. And then after that, the local distributor of presonus also contacted us, and then we've been selling presonus ever since. So yeah, it's been good, except come 2021, okay, January, the market just dropped. I think it's because of the saturation. Everyone was in the studio, everyone has bought their gear, now they're using it, and no one's interested in buying more gear unless they're a new studio opening up. So and nobody's going to open up a new studio right now. That's so ridiculous. I mean, yeah, there's some pop up here and there, but they close immediately. And so there, and now sales haven't been so good, but this is the new avenue we're going into, the streaming avenue, and we're hoping that maybe we could sell some good quality streaming stuff so that people, so that's why we're streaming also. If we sound good in the stream and people take notice and will say, hey, you guys want to have our setup? It's not expensive.
And we can give it to you.
We can give it to you for a discount.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, just salesman talking.
Yeah, no, it's good, man. Like you have to, man. Yeah, you have to have a call to action, man. Like you gotta, and the fact is, obviously, it's fantastic that you guys can start getting gigs with your music online.
Yes.
Like, that's awesome. But at the same time as well, or if you have a little link or a little watermark or something, like just something where you have that sort of static advertising at the same time. Or you have that, like, you can drop it every now and then. Look, it's no different to saying, please subscribe to my channel, please, give a like or a comment. By the way, also, like, if you want to have good audio, like, it is really you doing people a favor. So that's again one of the good sides of sales, is that when you actually are doing something to improve and solve a problem for someone else. Because if you sit out there as a consumer and you watch your video and it's all about the sales, then you can get put off a bit. But how it sounds like you're doing it, like you actually, like, your stuff. This is a microphone, you can hear it sounds great. I've got these really nice compressors. You might not have to go all the way up to the most expensive. We also have these options that are a bit cheaper. Now let me show you how it works, and then you can get good. Like, that's a good way of selling, because again, you are literally doing people a favor. Obviously they need to commit and pay some money for it, but that's no different to them buying it somewhere else. But the good thing about you is, like, you give them the rundown and some insights and build that relationship that would hopefully allow people to stay connected to you and your channel. Dude, I love what you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really believe that if you're marketing something, you should know how to use it well. And you have to know how to use it well. You have to know the inside and out of that thing. Or else, if you're just going to sell it and then people ask you what's wrong with it and you don't know how to use it, I think that's when the relationship stops, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's just one sale and that's it. There's no follow-up, there's no nothing. And let me tell you that most of my students were just clients of mine who wanted to buy something from me. And then they became my students because I was giving them a lot of information about how to use their equipment.
Yep.
So
and that way, again, like, you're building more a relationship rather than just having a transaction.
Yes, definitely. I believe in long-term relationships. I hate one-time relationships that ends there. I hate that. So every time something is wrong with whatever, my service or my product, I make it right. I have to make it right. Yeah,
that is so cool to hear, man.
Thank you.
And again, I think it's so admirable how you just came up with this as something that just had to happen because of the lockdown, like because of COVID. So yeah, again, it's one of those things, where nothing is so bad that no good comes out of it, if you know what I mean. So obviously, in this case of you couldn't go out and play with your band, or you said you were a backing guitarist for a solo artist or something. Yeah. So, but then obviously, like, okay, look, I'm just gonna start doing this. I'm gonna up my YouTube content. I'm gonna start buying some nice streaming gear. I'm gonna start selling it online. Like, the thing is, like, it just comes to you.
It has to have to feed my family.
Yeah, exactly. But I tell you, man, it's certainly not everybody who has that same approach. You see. I reckon you see a lot more people that sit down and 2020 is the worst year ever. You know what I mean? And just it'll be over soon. Let's just wait it out and stuff. But in your case, I can't just sit and wait it out. I have to do something. You know what I mean? And that's, again, one of those beautiful things about when you have a consequence. Like, if I don't do anything, the consequence is I've got debts to pay. I've got X, Y, and Z I have to achieve. So I can't stop. I gotta just find a way to make it work. And that's such a good trait to have, man.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. It comes with, what Frank Zappa said. Necessity is the mother of invention.
It is.
I don't remember.
It's so true, though.
Yeah.
Because again, like, if the consequence is so big that there is no time to stop, or no time to not take action. Then you have to make it work.
Yeah.
Like, so you have to find a way. So yeah, it's so cool to hear, man. I love the fact that you are not just looking at one thing. Like, there's multiple strings. Again, like, you're doing I'm just gonna hone my mastering skills. So I'm gonna put that up. I'm gonna start finding clients overseas, and USA and Canada, and I'm gonna, at the same time, I'm also gonna find out how to get really good at live streaming. And then, hey, hang on, I'm also just gonna sell products. So so there's so many ways of doing it.
Yeah, diversify. We need to diversify in these trying times. You just can't be a guitar player and just hope people that give money to your bank account and pay for the streaming tickets. It's not that simple anymore.
No.
So we just have to really diversify everything. Diversify what you have, especially if you have a skill set and you know how to use it. Use that. Use the skill set you have to do whatever it takes to survive today and live. To survive and live. It's so hard. Just surviving is hard. How about living? I mean, living is different than surviving. Remember, right?
Yeah.
And so, and you have to live as well. You have, whatever action you take should be on that goal of first trying to survive, and then after surviving, living. It has to be on that goal of living.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go crazy if I don't try to live a life, man.
Oh, you need to, especially like you've got kids too, right?
Yeah, I got a daughter. We got a daughter, and so.
But obviously, like, by the time you have kids, you have to make sure that they're looked after, that they're safe and healthy and happy, and as a parent, I'm sure you're the same. Like, it's like you're secondary. Like, everything, like, you have to, everything you do so they can have a good life. Yeah,
exactly.
So again, so if you stop, they can't look after themselves. Like, they're so dependent on you and you functioning. So so that's again another perfect example of how good it is to see all that diversity that you're trying to do in the income stream. And I love the fact that you're incorporating your wife as well, and you say that she's the singer and you're the guitar in the background. But also, actually, it made me think of something else you said. Like, you said there's so many talented people in the Philippines. I went to the Philippines, I think 9 years ago. I went there for some diving stuff, and every time we went out for dinner, people, like the waitresses, would come over and sing at the tables and stuff. And like, there's everywhere we went, people were just singing and playing music. And it was so nice, man, because like, you don't see that the same way in Australia or even in Denmark. I'm from Denmark originally.
Oh, okay.
And it just struck me like how, and people sang well, like, again, they're good singers. You know what I mean? Very, very musical. So it was such a nice cultural experience to see how music is such an important part of life there.
To a fault. Sometimes karaoke is just terrible, man.
Karaoke is supposed to be terrible.
It's terrible. Sometimes we can't sleep with karaoke, man. People are just too addicted to it.
Yeah, karaoke is supposed to be bad. It's like,
I know. I think the neighbors.
I think karaoke must have been invented for people that want to sing but can't sing.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, man. Definitely.
But it's good fun, man. It's cringeworthy from time to time. Yeah, I totally agree with that. But so actually, tell me a bit more about the actual musical side of things. So you said you were playing with an artist. How did that work? And was that something you were doing full time?
Well, I have a band that's my band.
Oh,
The
cool.
band I put up, it's called Ordinario, where we play classical Filipino merged with blues and jazz and rock. It's a fusion of sorts, and it's
Fantastic.
a diverse kind of genre. There's also some African beats going on there. There's also some eclectic music going on there with
Wow.
that modern rock sound, right? And we don't use digital instruments. Everything is solid, a real violin, real guitar, real everything, and drums, of course, are real. And yeah, that's the band me and my wife are in,
Wow.
and she's the the girl lead singer, and my brother is the male lead singer of that band. And then I also play for a rock artist here in the Philippines. He's Basti Artadi. He kind of famous. He's kind of famous here. He's already a living legend here in the Philippines. And yeah, I was his guitar player for 6 years. And just before the pandemic hit, we were gigging all here and there, and that was a really good career for me. It was a really good it was a good stretch of my career. I mean, it really put me on that level where I could, say that I got somewhere. I was at that I was in that feeling that, hey, I'm getting somewhere because of my guitar playing. But even before that, I had bands here and there. We were nominated for awards, we won some, and it was a cool, very cool musical
Nice.
journey for me. I was more on that rock and blues, classic rock kind of flavor, but I really want to move into a more classical style, a more, uh, should I say, a more cultural style. Like I'm really digging African blues. I'm really digging classical Indian music, the Shakti, the rag, what do you call it? The rag. They call it the rags. I mean, I'm really into that. Look, I'm really into that. And even my wife, when I play that kind of music in our room, like, what are you listening to? It's called influence. It's called inspiration. I mean, we can't listen to old school music all the time, and in new school music all the time. We have to dig deep. So this is me trying to dig deep and trying to um, expand whatever guitar skills I have. And since I don't have a band, I do a lot of live looping. Just loop stuff using an acoustic guitar and electric guitar, playing along with my loops and trying to come up with stuff that maybe is interesting, maybe not. I mean, when it comes to guitar playing, I always, I think that I'm not good. Every time I do something on guitar, I'm like, damn it, it's so ugly. I'm my biggest critic. I am my biggest critic.
It's
So I'm not confident all the time.
I'm super intrigued now. I want to check out that original band you were talking about, and also, so obviously playing guitar is one thing. Then you have your mixing, your mastering and stuff. So is it fair to assume that this is your full-time thing?
Yeah,
Yep.
that is the one that's keeping us alive right now, mixing and mastering and teaching. Those are the three avenues that are keeping us alive. And then the fourth one would be our equipment sales, and because it's good, but it's not as steady as my mixing and mastering gig, which I'm very, very grateful for. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, everyone who had their songs mixed by me, mastered by me, you guys put food on my table. You guys made me sane. Okay, so thank you so much to everyone who are my clients and my students. So I just want to say that. Without that, I'm dead.
Hopefully not. But well, actually, just on that note, let's try and have a little chat about your skills in that particular genre, because then you never know that someone might be listening that needs to get something mixed or mastered.
Oh yeah.
So what genres are you looking at, and what sort of your approach to doing online mixing and mastering?
All right. First of all, there's no real genre. I don't choose genres. I don't any genre.
So you're comfortable working in like any genre?
Any genre is fine, but I do have an expertise on certain genres. Like,
yes,
I think I'm really good mixing classic rock because my ears just love that sound, the sound of real drums, raunchy guitars, and I just know what to do immediately when I hear a rock tune, some electric guitar on, a tube amp cracked. I can just feel it. Oh, this is really good, and I just know immediately what to do with that drum sound, that bass sound with the vocals, and then blues will be my second thing. That's like a more subdued rock and roll, right? So, and then jazz will be my third thing, right? But of course, I had to learn how to mix modern music. MIDI plugins. I have to learn how to use that 808 kick that everyone loves. Boom, boom. I'm actually mixing a hip hop compilation right now, and everyone is using trap beats and 808s. I'm like, my chest is about to burst. Boom.
Yeah.
But you have to learn how to do it, right? And yeah, my approach really, there's a song in there that has to come out. In all those tracks, there's a song there somewhere, and you have to find that song. You're like chiseling a block of cement, right? Chiseling it one by one, and there's a song out inside. There's something beautiful there that you have to sculpt. Okay, so I don't technically just do the mixing and EQ and whatever. I approach it in a very artistic approach because I consider myself as an artist, and when I do some mixing, I try to make that song a reality by a vision first. There should be a vision. If there's no vision, the song won't come out. There has to be a vision. So I always talk to the artist. What is the vision of the song? You have to translate to me what feelings I should feel with this song, what kind of sound you're looking for, and what kind of the whole picture. It's like the Mona Lisa, let's say. Picture me the Mona Lisa, but you have to give me some details. Like, is she up front? Is she at the back? Is there a mountain there? Is there a tree there? There should be a big picture that's being explained to me. And if the artist doesn't have that, I'm gonna paint my own picture.
Yeah.
Okay? If I'm gonna paint my own picture, you have to accept the painting. Okay.
Yeah. Because my first question after you said that was like whether that's like some sort of communication you have up front, and in case the artist, as you just said, doesn't have that, would you then just suggest something? Like, would you just spice it up, with the right food and say, so this is a dish?
Yeah.
But so do people just send you through the stems and give you like a rough bounce mix, like a rough stereo mix, saying this is the quick mix that we did? Can you make it sound and give you a couple of references? Maybe like this is Led Zeppelin kind of vibe we were going for, or Alice in Chains, the Stone Temple Pilots, or something like that, and then you work with that. Is that how a scenario could look like?
Usually that's the scenario. They give me a bounce track, a stereo track. That's, this is the rough mix, and we want to improve on that. And they give me the stems, and they give me a few references. That's the basic of, I think that's the minimum that an artist should do in order to submit to a mixing engineer. But there should also be some good notes. Like for me, if you want a mix engineer to understand your song, send them the lyrics as well. Okay, send them the lyrics. Tell them what those mean. Tell the mixing engineer that this song should provoke this kind of feeling or something. Tell them, because audio music, it's about hearing and feeling stuff, right? When you hear something, it makes you feel something. That's why you're happy with the music you're listening to. It doesn't matter what kind of genre. It could be Blackpink and you're feeling something deep with that kind of music, and who's to judge that? So it should be that way. You should tell the mix engineer, I want to feel this way with this song. I want to dance. This song must make me feel that I want to dance. This song must make me feel that I want to cry. This song must make me feel sleepy. Stuff like that. It has to be detailed that way. Because audio, because I'm an audio engineer. When I say I'm an audio engineer, I study audio waveforms, not just the DAW and how to mix things. So when I was studying audio waveforms, each audio waveform can make you feel something automatically just by its hertz, just by its frequency. And that's why in all of my music, I put a pure tone there. It's kind of a cheat, a pure tone cheat that calms your mind. This
Really?
pure tone will calm. Yeah, some of my songs have that. Like especially my instrumentals, I have 535 hertz. What does that do? It promotes mental well balance.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah,
It's like sorcery, man.
Exactly. Artists can utilize that kind of knowledge in audio. I mean, there's a lot of things audio can do for your day. Just the mere fact when you wake up to a jackhammer will ruin the whole day. But if you wake up to the sound of rain, that's going to really make your day, right? If you wake up to the sound of the sea, you're going to feel really good. But if you wake up to the sound of traffic, what?
Yeah.
You're going to feel bad the whole day, man. See, audio, it can influence your daily life.
Yeah, I've got a very similar approach to it as well, but I had no idea about those frequencies you were talking about. Like that it sounds like magic.
It should be subliminal, because if you make it loud, it's really irritating.
But I suppose again, as you mentioned yourself as well, like it's up to you to sort of chisel and make everything sort of blend in well and create the Mona Lisa for that particular song.
Yes, definitely.
That's interesting, man. Thanks so much for sharing that, by the way.
I'll link you to the songs that have that, so you
please
subliminally listen to those pure tones.
Please.
They're not obvious, but if you're looking for it, what kind of pure tone is used here? You can hear it because you're looking for it. But if you're not looking for it, it's just there. It's very subliminal. I have a song that can beat traffic. If you're really angry with traffic, listen to this song. It's gonna make you in traffic. You're just gonna glide through traffic. Well, there's no traffic now. It's a lockdown, so no traffic.
And what about mastering? Because I mean, to a lot of people, mastering is almost classed as some sort of dark art form or something. So what's your take on mastering, and how can that improve the final product?
First of all, mastering in its raw form, or in its description, its real description, is a preparation. It's a physical preparation of going to vinyl or going to CD or going to a medium. Okay, so it's called a master copy, where things will get duplicated, where that piece of music will get duplicated. So mastering per se is that final step, the submission of that physical copy. And it's been mistranslated in our industry for the greater part of maybe 40 years, maybe 30 to 40 years, that mastering has to be another process to do in the digital realm, right? But in truth, if you mix a song already and then you want to send it out for duplication, that's where mastering is. Okay, it just undergoes a process where it levels out during that final etching of the vinyl or final printing of the CD, that it has to be flawless in audio and it doesn't skip first. It doesn't skip. It should have a good volume. It should have a good balance in the spectrum, right? So that's what mastering is, that medium. But in our world right now, mastering is the final process to be prepared before a few years ago for CD, right? Because everyone wanted a good punching sounding CD, like the loudest you can go. That's like negative 0.5, and that's really, really loud. And those are the loudness wars. So everyone wanted their masters to be loud. But now we have streaming. Now mastering has to still hit a loud target for streaming, but comply with the streaming loudness targets. So now mastering is more technical because of that. Sonically technical because of that. It's not anymore mechanically technical. Before it was mechanically technical, but now it's sonically technical inside the DAW. So mastering should be preparing you for streaming to YouTube. Okay, and that's a different requirement to Spotify. Okay, I have every time I have a song mastered to me, I ask them if it's a stem mastering or if it's a stereo mastering. If it's stem mastering, I'm getting all their stems, right? The drums, and everything. But I just sum that up, and they have to comply to Spotify requirements, YouTube requirements, Facebook requirements, Tidal requirements, and all of those requirements. And there's only 3 requirements anyway. It's negative 14, negative 12, and negative 11, I think. But negative 12 and 11 can be together, and CD is the other one because some people still want to release on CD. So I always have 3 masters. And still, what I do with my mastering is put it through all my analog gear and give another character to the song. So the mix is good. If the mix is sent me was a good balance and everything, I'll put it through my analog gear, my tube compressors, and engage some transformers in it, so I can magnetize the audio just a bit. And when that happens, there's some sparkle in the song. It kind of has a mojo to it. It becomes a bit deeper. It sounds a bit deeper. There's a top end that's really, really nice to the ears, because people want it loud. Okay. Yep. And my job is to make it as loud as I can without hurting people's ears. Okay. Everyone wants their masters loud. I mean, I don't know why, but that's the thing. Everyone wants it loud. And I have to comply to that. Every time I say, can we not make it too loud? And they're like, no, I want it loud. Okay. I have to comply. They're my clients. But if it were me, my masters in my band, they're not so loud because I want people to be able to listen to the songs all afternoon. I mean, without having their ears tired. It's a problem with loud mastering. It's really tiring to have loud masters because there's something called temporal distortion. Temporal distortion is that clip. When your clipping hits a certain threshold and your sound is clipping and somehow there's a distortion that gets through, and in that distortion, that's the thing that's making you tired. So every time I try to hit the limiter, I don't want to hit the threshold, just below it, so distortion won't go through.
That's honestly, man, that is so interesting. I've always approached mastering as it's just a way to bring the stereo bands to 0. So you can't put it out on a compact disc. And I was aware that there was like a vinyl mastering process as well. That's slightly different because obviously like you have. Is it because you have deeper frequencies on vinyl or something? But I wasn't aware that there was that many different ways of sort of finishing it off, like based on different streaming platforms. Do they all respond different?
Yeah, they do respond differently. If you put out a
Wow.
master that's negative 14 LUFS on YouTube, it's gonna sound weak. So you have to put it around negative 12 or negative 11. So it's kind of, that there's a big difference. Even on Facebook, Facebook has a different way also of compressing music, because they all compress their, so every streaming platform compresses, and that's the sad part about mastering. So you bring it up to a level, you have all those frequencies, it's great, and they stream it, they compress the hell out of it, and now you don't have that same quality in your streams. And I've tested it. I've tested how Spotify sounds like, how YouTube sounds like. I re-downloaded all my songs from Spotify and YouTube, and I've pinpointed those frequencies which they cut out. And every song has that, but every song has different frequencies being cut out because of how it was mastered and how it was pushed. So you got to take note of that.
So if you were, so just so see if I understood this correctly. So really, if you do know you have like a broad range of streaming platforms that you want to release your music on, should you really do individual masters for each, depending on what sort of format that they operate on?
Yeah, I would. I always do. I always do for my clients. I always give them 3 different masters. If they want an additional master for another platform, I'll have them add a very small amount for that additional master version. There should always be different versions for every platform.
And see, just like that, without even selling anything, you've sold your knowledge and your mastering skills right here. Like that
thank
is.
you. Thank you so much.
Like that is, that is very insightful and very interesting, man. Very interesting.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're interested with our geekery.
Look, I'm by no means an expert at all. I mean, I do my little home studio thing and do record stuff at home, and but I would never endeavor to go in and actually start mixing something, because again, I would need to spend way too much time to get to a level where I would get comfortable at that. And I would much rather, especially with how the world works now, I would much rather pay someone that are good at it and sort of free up that time. You know what I mean? So I would much rather say, look, okay, if you're good at it, I would much rather make sure that you don't die and you can, feed, like put food on your table, like you said.
Yeah, space your time out so you can do other stuff, the stuff that you need to do. Right?
Exactly.
Like me, I wouldn't go out, building a chair. If I need a chair, I'm gonna take me months to build a chair. I'm gonna have my carpenter build that chair for me so I can do my audio stuff here, right?
Yep.
Same. You have to know where you have to fight your battles, pick your battles, right?
And it's also it's one of those things, like how I look at it is, if it's something you're only gonna do once or twice, maybe 3 times, then would you really need to go through the effort to learn that? Like for instance, at the moment, I'm about to set up a website for a record label. I'm starting a record label.
Oh, fantastic!
And for me to have to learn how to go in and change stuff around in WordPress and make something animated and stuff, it's like that would take me weeks. And it'll probably still look like shit. So for the sake of spending, $500 or something like that, then give that to someone who's good at it. And then again, then it's up to me to deliver the brief and the references and all that stuff. But then if it's something you need to do repeatedly, so again, for instance, like a live stream, if that, or a podcast or something like that, then you have to learn it, at least learn the basics, so you know what you're doing. It's still it's so interesting about that mastering thing, man. That
if especially for getting into that website thing, like I have a website, I know basics on how to create one, but I would never create my own website. I mean, do it by myself. So I had a friend who's an awesome web designer come in and do the website for me. I pay him, and he's an awesome designer. Maybe if your website isn't made yet, I can offer his services to you. He's such a good designer. Like, he also does the layout, not just, he really designs it really well with heart. So just tell him what you want and he's gonna do it. And that's how my website came to be. I mean, I needed a website for so long, and I was just shy to approach him because I didn't have money that time. I said, "Can I just pay you some other time?" And he's like, "Sure, just pay me when you can." Oh my god! Oh my god! Sometimes you just have to ask, man. Sometimes you just have to ask. Shout out to Brian. That's TechBP on .com. Check techbp.com. He has an awesome service. I'm vouching for this guy. He does a lot of he did the website for Fender Philippines. So I mean, Fender guitars, man. Come on, nice. Fender guitars, man. Right? So that's an amazing portfolio, right? He's done my website, mixmachineaudio.com, also guitarpusher.com. A lot of musicians go to him for website creation. So techbp.com.
Fantastic, man. You gotta drop me the link for that one after as well.
Of course, I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up with him. He's an awesome guy.
There's a lot of links you need to send to me after, man.
I will.
For music, for different songs and music and websites and all that. Also, have you actually? So on your website, is that also where people can sort of reach out to you for mixing and mastering? Is that through your website?
Yes, it's through my website. Before it was through Upwork. Since Upwork, I haven't updated my Upwork account anymore because I'm more into my website. It's www.mixmachineaudio.com, and all the links are there if you want to contact me and to drop me a pre-master so I can sample it. Also, all our products are there. The training program is there. The studio is there. I got some awesome pictures of the studio. And
fantastic, man.
Just hit me up for anything. I mean, anything. You just ask me anything. And I think the thing I'm so most proud of is that even people who aren't my clients, they just ask me stuff. I'm like someone who's being asked a lot of questions every day. I never get anything out of it, but I really love answering those questions, especially if it's a tech question. And I just answer it. I have like long conversations about a piece of audio that he doesn't get, but I still answer it, even if it's not my product. I mean,
But stuff like that, it might not give you something right now. But in the future, but then in the future, if you are building those relationships, like usually what will happen is if somebody has given some, in your case, some really good detailed free advice, you know what I mean? Like you haven't done it with any hidden agenda and stuff. But what you're doing is like you are building that connection. So at some point, if that person needs to actually hire a mixing or a mastering engineer or buy a presonus card or whatever it is that you can offer, then you have already paved the path. You've given that person so like the whole trust is there. You know what I mean?
I guess so.
So I think if you have that approach to it, and especially because you're clearly very passionate about it,
I love audio.
Exactly, and therefore people can feel that, and there's nothing better than dealing with someone who is really passionate about it. You know what I mean? So usually people would pay more, or they would prefer to go and pay the same for someone who is passionate about it rather than someone who might have a flashier studio but are just in it for the
Mula.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, no, it sounds like you got it all going for you, even despite the corona.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I hope we all get out of this soon, man.
I'm sure.
I
I'm
hope we all
sure.
get out of this soon.
I'm sure we will. Because I mean, honestly, like it can't go on forever, man. Like
Well,
it's
as long as people are making money out of this, I don't know, man. I don't want to go there, but it just seems like it's been happening too long, man. Like it's just too long. A year, oh my God, it's already a year. It's our Corona anniversary.
yeah. You're right. Yeah, shit. Yeah, we're coming up to April now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Corona anniversary, man.
Damn,
right?
What a sad anniversary that is.
Oh, dude, you don't celebrate anniversaries like this.
Oh man. Yeah, it's like how do you have like what do you think will happen on the other side, like when everything is done?
I don't know,
not
man.
done, but like when everything is accepted again.
I thought we were getting there last year around December or November. I thought we were already getting there to that point where the world will work again, you know. And all of a sudden, bam! Just that sudden spike of cases from nowhere. Variants from India, variants from UK, variants from wherever. What the African variants? What the hell? What's going on? Is everyone creating a virus in their backyard? You know, I just don't know, man. Like, what is the virus mutating? Is it mutating, or is it someone engineering it again, like what happened before? Nah, I don't want to think too much about it. The only thing I want to do is, you know, try to get through it.
Yeah, but again, like the interesting part about it is like now they're rolling out vaccines. Like a lot of people here has had vaccines. A lot of people, I think,
nice.
So many people in the UK has gotten a vaccine now.
Nice.
But again, with everything mutating, is that really gonna work then? You know what I mean? Like again, I'm not medical in any way, shape, or form. But for instance, like here in Western Australia, for instance, like they advise everybody to get a flu shot every year because the normal flu changes every year.
Exactly.
Anyway, so if you get a vaccine now, and like you said, if you got 2, 3, 4 different strains,
another corona. You get another vaccine. You get another corona vaccine next year, supplied by the good friendly guys at China.
COVID-22.
Yes, COVID-22. Yeah. You need that vaccine, man.
third year in a row. New anniversary, man.
Yeah, third anniversary. I'm just going to tell my friend. I'm just going to tell. I have to join another stream later. I'm just going to tell them I'm going to be a bit late. Okay, just give me 1 minute.
Sure.
I'll just tell them I'm going to be late because we're really talking some good stuff. Yeah. Okay, because we do a webinar called Presonus Webinars Philippines, and this is where we talk about Studio One, our DAW, and how to use it, tips and tricks. It's more of an educational webinar for those who are into the Studio One echo space.
Yeah. Fantastic. So is that the DAW you're using as well? Suppose you have to.
It was the DAW I was using even before they got me. So I mean, I really like Studio One. It's a nice DAW.
Yeah.
It's a good DAW. I mean, because I'm on PC. I'm supposed to be a Logic if I'm on Mac, but I'm on PC, so Studio One is my best bet.
Yeah. Well, look. Before we round it off, I'd love to hear sort of what's your future ambitions? Like where would you like to take your musical career in, say, the next maybe 5 years?
Oh my God! Really, my musical ambition before was to travel the world again with my wife and my daughter, and we'd be playing music all over the world. That was one of my musical ambitions. And it's not gonna happen. So what I want is our brand of music, our classical Filipino / Western fusion, to be kind of recognized in a way that it may to maybe inspire other cultures to dig deeper into their roots. Because in this modern age, it's our roots are being neglected, and I'm not too sentimental about that, but it's the signature sound of a country, that those kinds of roots. Like, for example, America, you got blues, you got in India, you got that classical Indian sound, right? You have African, you have their sound. UK has their own sound. Australia, you got your own sound as well. And it's because I think it's an embracing of a culture. That's one of my main goals. And maybe play in Amsterdam, play in Australia, or play in just go maybe if the situation permits. And for business, for my mastering studio, I would love to collaborate with more artists in other countries, and just make them sound good. I mean, if I may, make them sound the way they want to sound, or whatever. I'd love to collaborate with artists, even in the creation side, because I do a lot of arranging, and sometimes I do a lot of arranging pro bono, because when someone submits a piece of music that I really like, I'm like, let's just do this. Don't worry about the money. Let's worry about the money next time when your song is making money. But this time, let's just do this. Let's sit down. Let's really make this song good. And I want to be that kind of arranger where I can help others who doesn't have the budget to put out their own music. But of course, there's going to be like an X deal in the future. Like, okay, if this song makes some money, you got to give me some.
Yeah,
we both put some effort to this, right? So, so, I mean, we're both risking our time and our effort, right? So, yeah. So in the future, I'd want to do that. I'd want to do and collaborate with artists around the world, not just here, because here I've been doing it for so long, and artists around the world, and just getting the word out that there's music all around, music everywhere, that some you don't, even the music you don't know about could be beautiful. So I always try to experiment and dig into a piece of, like, an area, a location. What kind of music are these people listening to? And every time I discover something great, I'm like, why don't people come to our side of the world and experience the great music that's being made also here? I mean, it's a matter of opening up your mind and heart to other forms of music. Well, that's just me being an optimistic and idealistic, but that's a dream. Okay, that's a dream of mine.
I love it. I love it. Mm-hmm. Let's collaborate. I love. I'm a drummer myself, and we just opened up a studio. So I've helped a good friend of mine build a recording studio here in Perth over the last 4 months. So we've actually got like a full professional recording facility where I operate my YouTube studio and podcast studio from. Nice. So yeah, man. Look, I'd love to do some collaborations, man. Let's stay in touch.
Let's talk, man. Absolutely. Let's talk, man. Let's talk. I'd love to hear what you've got.
And the whole chat about using native instruments and stuff is something that I'm always been really drawn to.
Nice.
Before me and my wife had kids, like we'd travel all over Europe, and went to like Turkey, and like the Turkish guitars and Turkish all that sort of Middle Eastern vibe and stuff, and went to Greece. Greece has this really sort of, the whole Mediterranean, and it just makes you happy, man. I got goosebumps, man. It's such a life. What do you call it? Like, it's you connect to it on a whole different level than what you do to a lot of the more sort of Western traditional rock stuff. because and I reckon it's because they have those other instruments, those special instruments.
Exactly.
Indian music is the same, like Indian percussion, the sitar, and like there's so many interesting again it's spice in the food, you know, and it sort of puts that country on the map, and you can hear, damn, that's something unique, and that must have to come from that part of the world. And that would be awesome. I would be honored. I'd love to be involved in a song or something, man, and try and put some drums on top of that, man.
Oh, definitely. Let's do it.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Do it. Let's do it, man.
100%, man. Look, as we round it up, just quickly, just give a shout out to again. Where should people go and stay in touch and keep up to date on what you're doing?
All right. You guys can find me at mixmachineaudio.com, and on Facebook, it's Mix Machine Audio and Music Production on Facebook. And I also have a page called Marco Roboto on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, Marco Roboto on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel called Tone Quest with Marco Roboto. I love robots. I love robots. Sorry. And just search for Marco Roboto and you'll see me there. I'm there.
Fantastic.
If anyone wants to have their song mixed and mastered, and if you're on a budget, we can talk. Don't worry about it. Let's work together. And it's in these trying times, I would love to help out bands who don't have a big budget for mixing and mastering. I'm always for just getting their song out there so they can, be proud of what they've created. So just hit me up, man. And also for you, if you have artists, if you're starting a label, right? And
for sure,
you're starting a label,
yep.
Hit me up. Let's talk.
We will for sure, my friend. Love it.
Great.
Thank you so much, Marco. I won't take up any more of your time. I know you're a busy man. You got to move on to is it a webinar you got to do now?
I got to do a webinar on Studio One. Thank you so much. Hey, Steven or Stefan, thank you so much, man. It was such a pleasure talking to you. Like,
likewise,
from the bottom of my heart. It's breath of fresh air. This interview is the best interview I've had all year, like since 2020. It's the best. Just your podcast is amazing. If you ask real good questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you too, my friend. Thanks so much for the nice words. I'm really excited for putting this up and for linking to all your very exciting projects. Yeah.
Wait, let's just take a photo because to document our. Thank you. Oh my God, I'm so proud of this interview. It's such a great interview. Thanks. I mean, I love it.
Likewise. I really had a good time. And again, like the highlights is your whole story about mastering. I'm gonna dream of that. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Marco. Enjoy the rest of your night. Really appreciate it.
You too. I'll link you all the stuff that you need to. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night. Thank you so much.
You too. Bye.